Thank you for taking time attending this session. This is a very interesting session. So my name is Venkat. I'm a lead data scientist for about 8 years now. I worked on various projects for various companies. So let's get started with our agenda today. So today we'll talk about exploratory data analysis. Okay. So you all know that today's agenda basically will go what is analytics, and then we'll go into the major steps in this artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is EDA, and we'll talk about that EDA extensively, and then we'll look into basic one case study. Okay, that in Python we'll go over that. Okay, so these are the topics for today's session. Introduction to data analytics, data cleaning and manipulation, data visualization, exploratory data analysis, and the steps involved in EDA and hands-on. Okay, so let's see what is Python. Okay, so basically you all have a basic idea about artificial intelligence, right? So artificial intelligence basically is a field which is all the things are happening now, and machine learning, deep learning, NLP, all these are in that field. Basically, artificial intelligence field, areas of that field. These are. So to implement this one, we need a programming language. Okay, there are few programming languages that we can use here. We can use Java, we can use Python, we can use Julia, we can use R. Okay, but in the last 2 3 years, Python became the de facto industry standard for artificial intelligence. Most of the companies are using Python now. That is the reason that it became the most popular programming language last year. How do we know that it is the most programming language? Because the number of projects, number of people working, and number of questions asked in Stack Exchange and all those forums. Those are kind of metrics that we use to see that which is most popular language. So this is not a new language. It was developed by Guido van Rossum long back, about 20 years back. Okay, but it came into prominence recently after the emergence of machine learning and deep learning. Okay, so it is a high level language. That means basically the you just like English like coding. Okay, you can easily understand. Even a person who doesn't know anything about computers, if they read code, they know that it is what basically it is doing. It is kind of high level, not at the low level like compiler or assembly language. Okay, it is object oriented. So basically, you can take advantage of its object oriented concepts and programming aspects of it. So the code can be clean and modularized code. Okay, and it is easy to learn, easy to implement. Basically, I learned about 10, 12 languages in this last 20 years, and this is the easiest language, and many people work for that. Okay, and most important, it is open source. That means that you don't need to pay anything, you just download and you can use it. Okay, that is about Python. Python can be used for a lot other things other than artificial intelligence. Basically, you can build websites, you can do a lot of things. You can do web scraping. That means you want to get data from the web. Suppose like drug research data from 10 pharma companies. You can do web scraping and get all the data. Okay, and you can do a lot of things with Python, but here we look at what the aspect is with artificial intelligence. Okay, so let us look at what is data analytics and why data analytics. Basically, data analytics for any corporation or for any government or non-government organizations, data analytics gives the hidden insights into the huge amount of data. Now you saw that COVID-19, we got a lot of insights into the spread and the death rates and morbidity. All the data that we got is from the analytics that we generated from the huge amount of data that all the world countries and WHO is making. So data analytics is the graphs and all that you are seeing in the websites on the TV. Basically, this is generated by the AI programs. So why it is important? Because for common man or for a management, easy to see. Data analytics gives a big picture of the huge amount of data. They may not have the time. Even common population will not have time or energy to understand all the data. So basically, this will take the important aspects, insights, and just put it in a graphical form. So for us, we know that okay, with this graph is the virus is spreading like this one, it is flattening, or this is the ratio, how many people are getting this, all this kind of data that is useful for a population. And for a corporate, maybe market analysis or performance reports or stock price analysis, all these things are sales, especially sales, and all these things. You need that kind of information. The management need that kind of information, real time information, okay, to take decisions on where to spend their advertising money, what kind of products are popular in what kind of segments, all these things, which customers are leaving and what customers are finding it is good, what products are popular. There is millions of questions that management will have. This will answer all those questions. Okay, so that is the reason of importance for data analytics. Okay, so let us go to the next one. So what is data analytics? Refer to the techniques to analyze data to enhance productivity and business. So that's the reason that data analytics play a crucial role for the management. Okay. So basically, you have the business administration and EDA, you use it to get the insights into data, and that will propel your growth in business. Okay. So who is a data analyst basically? What are the roles for a data analyst? Basically, in the business world, you see that business analyst, data scientist, and data engineer. These are the common roles here. Data analyst and business analyst are kind of beginner roles where they know about the data, they know SQL, they know the relational database, how to access it, and how to manage the data, how to manipulate the data. Okay, so they get the data, they analyze the data, and use various tools to visualize, generate reports, and give these reports to the management. So sometimes these data analysts help data scientists in organizing the data and giving the data. Okay, so what are data analysts? What skills a data analyst should have? Basic understanding of statistics, okay, and knowing like how to clean the data. Basically, most of the data that you get in the real world is not super clean data. Basically, sometimes you need to clean the data. Most of the time, you need to clean the data. Okay, so those skills you need. Then EDA, the exploratory data analysis that we are going through today, and the data visualization. This also we'll talk about a little bit about how to do the data visualization. Okay, so machine learning is one aspect that data analyst will use, will have that skill, and we will see today what are all the things that a machine learning does. Okay, now we talked about data cleaning and manipulation. This is a very, very important step. Data cleaning is extremely important step because unless the data is of good quality, we cannot get the insights into that. Even if we get the insights, it won't be correct insights. So data cleaning and is the most important step. So what do you mean by data cleaning? Sometimes there will be missing data. That means suppose you are asking a customer to enter all his information, his or her information. Sometimes they miss some of the information which is not mandatory. Okay, so that kind of information, age is one like that one. Way to guesstimate the age of the person who doesn't give the his or her age. Okay, so that is what data cleaning is. Today, we'll in our case study, we'll see how to clean the data, and we'll take a real case, interesting case we'll take, and we'll do that. Okay. So what is data cleaning? Basically, it is a process of detecting and correcting correct or inaccurate records in the data. Basically, you know that what is cleaning. Basically, data cleaning is to make sure that data is correct and has not having missing values. So that is what data cleaning is. And what is data manipulation? The process of changing data okay, as required. So sometimes there will be date and time. You don't want to see the time, so you need to manipulate it. Okay, I don't want time now. Okay, some applications. So you can just want to do some manipulation. Sometimes you need to add some records together. You take a kind of a sum of records. And sometimes you need to just show the average of all these things are data manipulation. Okay, let us go to the next one and data visualization. So what is data visualization? It is an important aspect of EDA. So we need to look at data at several perspectives. Okay, there are 60 or so these kind of graphs, bar graph, scatter plot, pie chart, heat map, several of the box plot, line graph. These are like 60 or 70 kinds of graphs are there. What is appropriate for your data? You need to look into that and use those things. Okay, so that you get with experience. Basically, you need to use these things and see that what is appropriate for you. So exploratory data analysis, we came to the gist of today's topic. What is exploratory data analysis? Basically, this EDA or exploratory data analysis is a technique to understand all the aspects of the data. Look at data from all perspectives and research into the data, whether data is correct. Just now somebody asked, how do we know if the data is correct? Yeah, we have to do EDA and we need to see that whether there are any outliers, what kind of standard deviation is there in the data, and whether the data is normally distributed. Lot of statistical techniques are there that we can use to see that if the data looks good or not. Okay, so what are the steps in the EDA? First, we need to understand the data. What all the features of the data, what kind of values the data can take, what is this data about? Okay, all the details about the data you need to know. Then, once you understand that, then clean the data. Clean the data means are there any abrupt or outlier values for this data? And are there any missing values? If there are missing values, how can we intelligently fill the missing values with reasonably close approximations? Okay, then analysis of the relationship between the variables. Okay, that's what we'll see today. Basically, EDA is a systematic process of looking into data and making sure it is of good quality. In any project, this ETA step will take majority of the time for the project. Suppose if we are doing project for 2 years, more than a year, we'll look into the data and analyze the data, clean the data, find all the missing values, find all the data about the data. That is the major aspect of the EDA. Okay, so let us go to hands-on and let us look at one case study. Okay, we'll use Python as I said. Okay, so these are open source tools for Python. We are using Python here. Okay, so there is something called Anaconda. If you download that, you get all these tools. Okay, so this one is the most popular platform. If you download that, you will get bunch of tools. One of the tool is this Jupyter notebook. So what is this Jupyter means? JU stands for Julia. That is a programming language that you can use this tool for. PYT stands for Python. Okay, you can use this one for Python also. And R is for R programming language. There is another popular programming language called R that also you can use. So for these three languages, you can use this interface. This is extremely easy to use interface. So basically, if you download Anaconda, you can open this Jupyter. So basically, it is just a cell by cell kind of thing. Suppose if I want to use a new notebook, if I say new and Python 3 is the latest version, 3.78. Okay, if I say that, it will open a new notebook. So here, if I do anything, each cell by cell, it will execute. If I say 2 plus 4, okay, so basically it will execute cell by cell. Okay, if I write anything code, it will execute that. For all these three programming languages, then you can name this and you can do it is an extremely easy programming interface. Basically, if you want to write programming Python, the easiest way is to start this one, to get this one. Okay, So there are other tools. Here a spider is there. There are other tools. This is the most beginner friendly interpreter basically. Okay. Is good knowledge of statistics required to learn EDA? The basic knowledge of statistics we all have. All know what is average, what is mean, what is mode, all these things. If you can have good statistical methods, that is always useful, but it is not much required as long as you know what is standard deviation, what is variance. All this is high school math basically. If you complete high school, you have enough statistical knowledge. Okay, so you don't need any specialized degree in statistics. Okay, so this is basically the environment that we will use. Here, each of this is called cell. Okay, so basically this is one cell. You can see that this is second cell like that one. Okay, so here we can say that kernel is the engine that runs it. If you want to restart, you restart. Okay, so this blue means it is basically, you can see the blue here. So that means it is in the command mode. When it is command mode, you can create cells. If you say yes, if you press A in this command mode, it will create a cell. I'm pressing A now. So it will create a cell above. If I keep on pressing, it will create all the new cells. If I press DD, it will delete. Simple steps here. Okay. So if I want to put some heading, I can put like, okay, let me put a heading too. So here it is saying code. I want to say markdown so that I can use it for a heading. So heading starts with this. So let us say video. So this is not executable code. This is kind of headings and all those. All your kind of help, all those things you can provide here as a markdown. Okay. You can put equations. You can do anything here. Okay. So if you want to put a equation, basically what you need to say is basically you can use that one. So if I press B, I can open another cell. If you want to put an equation, all you need to do is do this one and basically start with a dollar and say that A equals B squared, something like that, or B cube, something like that. Okay, you can put integration, all kind of any kind of mathematical symbol, you can do that. So it will put all those equations, root square, square root, all kinds of mathematical symbols and all, you can use it here like that. Okay, so data frame is like Excel sheet almost. Okay, so how it will be? It will be like this one. So passenger ID is there, survived. Zero means no, that person died in the accident. Survived one means that person survived the accident, means they lived after the accident. What is the passenger class? What class they boarded on the ship? There are three classes: first class, second class, third class. Okay, what is the name of the passenger? What is the gender of the passengers? Is it male or female? What is the age? Where they embarked? Where they get on the ship? Is it Southampton? Is it Cork? All these data. So this is the data basically. Okay, once you get the data, now you can see that what is that data? Can we get the information about the data? Okay, what data types it has, all those things. So once we get all the data about the passengers, so basically what is our problem statement here? We know that this many passengers went on the ship and some survived and some did not. So if I have a new passenger now, okay, that went on that ship, okay, and we don't know whether that person survived or not, we have to predict whether that person survive or not. Basically, we need to know what is the probability that person survives if that person gets on that boat. Suppose XYZ person, okay, bought the ticket and did not make it the journey. So got a little bit delayed, did not make it. So would that person would have survived or not? That is what we are predicting here. So that is the machine learning problem that we are predicting. Okay. So we got all the data. Okay. So what is this data tells us? We have integer column for passenger ID, survived and all. And object means we have a string because name is not an integer, it is a string. Okay. So now let us say that what is this data looks like. Okay. So these are the statistics about the data. Okay. How many data items are there? That means 891 records are there. What is the mean passenger rating? What is the standard deviation? What is the minimum? What is the first quartile? What is the median? What is the 75th quartile, third quartile? What is the maximum data in that one? So if you take fair, 891 British pounds, I think this one currency is the highest, the number of records. What is the mean? It is 32 pounds. What is the standard deviation? 49. What is the max? Somebody paid 512 pounds. And what is the minimum? So somebody did not pay, it is zero. Okay. What is the 25th quartile and all? What is the median? It is 14 pounds. All kinds of data you get. What is the highest age of the passenger? 80 years. What is the lowest minimum age? A few months old, less than a year. Okay. All kinds of data you get here. Okay. Let us go to the next one. Now we need to analyze the data. So basically, we need to, this is the seaborne package we are talking about. This SNS is the seaborne. Okay. We imported seaborne package. So that will plot us on various aspects of the data. So we want to see the gender, sex, how many males and how many females are there. So males outnumber females here. Okay. And we want to see that what is the class wise, first class, second class, third class. How to do that? Just if you mention the plot name, the package can do the plotting. That is the beauty of these packages. So now there are like about more than 200 passengers in the first class, then second class, not that many, but third class has most of the passengers. Okay. So then again, you can see that, okay, what is the distribution of the passengers by class? Okay, so in the first class, there are more males than females, even in second class, even in third class, there are very few. The ratio of males to females in the first and second class is close, but it is very different in the third class. Okay. Then the data manipulation, these are the things that we are talking about. Then you can write a simple Python functions and all. This is the way to write Python function. We'll say that, okay, let us see how many children are there. Okay, let us assume that a child means less than 16 years. So we can write a method like this one and say that it is not just males and females, we can have children also. So let us see that how many children are there. Okay, now let us see that P class count. Okay, now see, we got another dimension of this data, that's males, females, and then children. Okay, you see that very few children in the first class, but many more in the second and third classes. Okay, so this is all the steps that we are talking about in the data EDA. Okay, all kinds of aspects of data should be looked. We created another kind of data here, children, and we saw that, okay, who is less than 16, we call them children. This is all the data analysis we are saying. Okay, so first of all, age is not there for all the people. This is age, we need to do that. So how to fill the age? Because some people age we do not have. So how to estimate age for all the passengers? So here we are plotting age for all the people. We know that 80 years is the oldest passenger. Okay, and youngest passenger is only few months old. Okay, so we know all that data. Now we can look at this data manipulation and distribution. So these are all the statistical ways that you need to look into. So if you put for a small kid 29 years age, then that won't be correct, right? So that is why we are doing this processing. This is all the exercise that will go for complicated data sets. It will have millions of data and hundreds of features. By the way, these are all called features in machine learning terminology. These are all called features. So basically, these are all features for us. Passenger ID survived 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 features we have. Fare, parent-child relationship, sibling spouse, age. These are all features. Here we have 7 features. In reality, we'll have thousands in the real data. Okay, so doing the EDA is not that easy. Okay, but it will be easy in the sense that we use all these things, insights into data, but it will take time. Okay, the describe did not give all the string value of that one. Let me show you the data here. This is the correct. Okay, and the describe you don't see the name because it's a string, because standard deviation and all is not possible on strings. That's why it didn't give. So can you see the name and all the columns? And can anybody tell me what is the best way to fill the age of missing values? So some pre-processing is needed. This is what the pre-processing we are talking about. You have to use another feature and guesstimate the age. What feature I can use is basically I can use the name feature. If you see here, for name, Mr. and Mrs. are there for adults, and Miss and Master are there for kids. Okay, so for young people, there is another title basically. If you see the titles basically, you can put here 45 or so to see lot more details, and you can see that other titles are there. So from the title, you may get see here there is a master. That means he is a young person. Okay, so we can divide the data into adults and children, and then take average of the median of the children, okay, to get a very good estimate about the child's age. If the data is missing in the that category where there are master and young people, you can take their data and take the average, not the entire data and take the average. Okay, so basically those are the insights that you need to have good data manipulation. So we'll go further. Basically, we looked into all these things. These are all the things that we need to look into. Okay. So again, the distributions we need to plot so that we will see what is the data distribution here. Okay. What is the distribution for each class by age? Okay. What is the mean age basically? As I said, that 29.69 is the mean age for all the passengers where we got the data. Okay, so now comes the question how to fill the missing values. Okay, this is the crude way is basically if you put this one, okay, if you say that wherever there is no age, take the average and put the age there. That is a crude way of doing that we discussed. That is not the correct way. We need to get the names and put the passengers into different categories and take average or mean or median of those categories. All the kids average ages you can take a median. That is a good way. So this is another way if that kind of problem is not there. So you can use this kind of code to put the values for that. Okay. See here now age is filled with average. I know that this is not the correct way. We need to get basically the title of the passenger and separate them into adults and children, and then take the averages for adults differently. If you want to go further, then you can look at all the titles. Some are doctors, some are, there are several titles. So if you split the people into their professions and the titles and all those things, then you will get even better average, better estimate. Now here cabin has missing values. Now we need to talk to the business and say that does cabin add any value in figuring out this one? And the other problem we have with the cabin is only about 25% or less than a quarter has this information. Does it help us or not? Okay, if you really think that this information is doesn't help you, okay, all others will help you. Fair will help you to figure out that person is a rich person or not. Generally, rich people go into the first class and second and all those. Ticket price will tell you that person's status. All others will have some information, but cabin you may not have much information, and you don't have much data also, and not many people are allocated cabins because there are only few cabins. So in those rare circumstances, you can delete that saying that, okay, I don't need this data. Okay. So then you are certain that it is not useful for this one. Then we can delete that. How to delete that? Let us see. So cabin, we assume that it is not useful. So let us delete. So the delete is basically drop. If you say drop cabin, okay, access means row wise. In place means permanently delete. If you say false, it will delete temporarily. Later, if you access it, you can get it. But we are saying that permanently delete it, say true on all the rows where there is cabin. So if you execute this one, it will remove the cabin data altogether permanently. Okay, let us delete that. We don't need that data, so we delete it. Now, if you see that the cabin is gone, okay, if you want to make sure, you can say that Titanic dot info. So if you don't know the functions, basically if you press this, it will tell you. If you press a shift and tab, it will tell you all the methods that are associated with that. You don't need to memorize these, but as you use, you will get most of the methods memorized. So if you say info, it will get all those things, right? Or describe, you can say describe, you will get that whatever the data we are looking at. See what the error is. Okay, cabin, it is basically we already deleted, so it is giving error basically. So let us put that in a different cell so you won't get the error. Okay, let me go to that. So this one, it is already deleted, so it's not finding that. So how to do that? Create a cell below and now do it here. So here we can see that cabin is gone. Okay, if you say info also, you will see that. So cabin is gone. We deleted that. Okay. If you try to delete twice, then it will give you error because it's already deleted permanently. Now embarked. Okay, embarked also has two records missing, right? You see that 889 and the 891 are the total. So there are two values missing for embarked. So you can say that, okay, let us fill that one with the most frequent one, which is yes here. You can use mode or you can fill with what is the most common one in the data. This is where we are using that, okay, mode is the most common one. Okay. So Southampton here is the most common one. So here, these are all methods that we are using because these are associated with this one, right? These are associated with an object. So if I say here, this info is a method. So all those methods, what you have, you can see it here. Okay. All those things, even describe is a method here. Okay. So attribute means it will give some information about that object. Method means it will do some processing, basically. It will implement some logic. Okay. The describe, it is calculating all the stats about this and giving it to us. Okay. So let us go further and see that. Now we want to see, are there any missing values in the data? Let us see that. Okay. We filled all the missing values. Now there are no missing values in the data. Okay. Then let us go and analyze the data and look at the predictions basically. Okay. So embarked, basically we want to see who embarked at what place. So Southampton, most of the passengers get on the ship, and then there are few people in Cork and Queensland. Okay. So the other thing we will generally look at is basically if the data is balanced or not. So these are all the things that we will see to see that what kind of data we have. Okay, what kind of data we have. See, if you see that passengers at the Queenstown, this queue, who got on that one, almost all are on third class. There is only couple of people in the second and there is nobody in the first class. So that kind of insights you can get into this one. Now we want to see that, okay, who is alone, traveling alone on this ship? That means we want to find out whether people with the family are alone. So here we are creating features here. This alone is not there previously. We created this one. Why we created? We want to analyze that data. Who is going with this one and who is going without that? Okay. So we'll see the other one, how to plot this, who is alone. Okay, who is going with the family. You see that most of them are alone, not with the family. Okay, then who is in the class wise, who is with family and without family. Okay, then we'll see that who is survived and who is perished in the text. Okay, so many people did not survive and few people survived, and this is the data for them. One means they lived, zero means they died, the person that died. Okay, so let us look at that and see that what kind of survival is there in each of the class. Okay, so this is the kind of analysis that you need to do for all the people, all the passengers and all those things here. Okay, we have to create a data item called person and all those things, and you can do to do or analyze all those things. Okay, and then you can plot these plots where you can see the distribution, who is with family, without family, all the distributions you can see here. Okay, then age, with the distribution with the age, and how people survived, people died, and with the age, basically is the survival rate is moving with the age. Now you can see that it is. Okay, so let me quickly go through these so that by class you can see the survival, and then by age, all this kind of plots you can do. Then you can construct something called a heat map. That means what is the relationship between all these things. So here this is called heat map. Here it is between 1 and -1. You can see that it is between 1 and -1. If it is -1 close to, okay, that means it is inversely related. If it is close to +1, that means it is directly related. So you can see that this one means directly related. Okay, let us see that age is directly related to age only. Here also age. So age is directly related. So we ignore this diagonal. And ignoring the diagonal because each is with its own, obviously it is age is highly related with age. Other things we can look at this one. So what is the highest here? So can anybody see that what is the highest correlation here? That means what is the highest number among these? You can see the color coding and see that what is the highest one you see here. The parent-child relationship and sibling spouse, obviously, because if a person has brothers or sisters or wife and husband, generally it is probable that they will have kids also. So that is what this relationship is saying. Then that is what this relationship is saying. Then there is something survived and fair. This is also a little bit correlated. That means if the person is rich, more probable that that person survives. Okay, so these are all the things that you need to look in a heat map. Okay, so let us quickly go through the other kind of things. Okay, let us quickly go through that. So basically, sometimes if you mess up the kernel, you can restart. There are other ways of doing this. That means you can execute the entire file at one time. Okay, so basically you can execute these things in the order. Okay, so you don't miss anything, and then save this one basically. Okay, okay, so basically once you execute, we convert all this data into the numbers. That's what this one is doing basically. What we are doing here is get the miss means here these algorithms need only numerical data. Any data that you have in the text format, a computer can't understand that. So see name or male, female. Computer doesn't know what is male, female. So we need to convert into the numbers. Basically, it will do all kinds of mathematics on this one. It will do lot of transformations, high level matrix multiplications, and all those things it will do. For that, it needs numbers. Okay, that's how the machine learning will work. only on numbers. Artificial intelligence, it is everything about numbers. Even when you want to show image or video, you have to convert it into numbers. That's the point you need to remember. Okay. Okay, then what we do is put this data into training and testing data and use a model to predict the survival. Okay, so that's what it is basically. Once you predict, okay, now you have this much accuracy, 81% accuracy. That means your predictions are 81% correct. 81 times out of 100, it is correct. So this is basically a model building. So here we built a machine learning model using logistic regression algorithm. We built an algorithm here. Okay, so logistic regression is what we used. There are 40, 50 algorithms like that. Some of the most popular ones are linear regression, logistic regression, SVM, support vector machines, okay, XGBoost. These are all the popular ones. You can use any of them. There are two ways of doing it. For classification, there are some algorithms. For regression, there are some algorithms. So that is what the machine learning is, what EDA we need to do. Okay. Thanks a lot. We hope to see you again. Okay. Thank you.